Welcome to another episode of The Waiting Room with Zyna. My name is Zyna Oversee. I'm your host today. And thank God today we have a guest. She's already in the house and she's prepared to go on live with us. Hello guys on Facebook. I hope you can see me. We are not live on Facebook. Oh my God, it has gone off again. I'm going to try to do that again. I've been battling with this internet issue for some time now. Give me a second to switch to another supplier, please. My internet is really unstable. I've tried how many? I've been trying different suppliers and I don't know why this is happening. This is really sad. And my Facebook people are already waiting. Let's try and see if we can connect. I've been trying to connect. Let me try that again. This is not, okay, I think it's working. Hopefully it will come up in the next 1 or 2 minutes. So while I'm waiting for Facebook to come up, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Zyna Oversee, and I'm your host, like I said, today on this Waiting Room with Zyna. I'm bringing a guest who has worked with different people in the area of adoption. I don't know, even my Instagram is having some issues. The network today is really something else. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing it. It's really terrible. Anyway, I'm just going to continue. Hopefully this is going to work eventually. Okay, I think my Facebook is picking up, the network is picking up now a little bit. Let me go and change it to page. Right. Let's hope it goes live in the next 2 minutes. Are we live on Instagram or has it gone off again? Please confirm if we are live on Instagram. I don't know what's happening. I cannot see my video on Instagram, but Facebook is loading. Anyway, the guest I have today has worked with different people. She's the programs manager for Alliances for Africa. Her name is Blessing Duru. She has worked with different people and different organizations. She works with an NGO and she has worked with the state. Currently, she's residing in Imo State where she works with the state and all that NGOs and helping women, children, people who are dealing with adoption and other cases. So I think we're live on Facebook. Thank God. So she's here today to talk to us about the topic we have today, adoption. You know, we've been talking about adoption for the past 3 weeks. Yes. Wonder why I'm so interested in that topic, huh? Because it helped me. It made me a mother. So today we're going to talk about adoption, and she's talking to us about adoption from the standpoint of what she has experienced, what she has seen, and what she has noticed, you know, in the area of adoption, the misconceptions and the misunderstandings. That's what she's going to talk to us about today. And I think we are live on Instagram as well, but YouTube is still having issues. And if YouTube does not pick up, I'm recording this program, and at the end of the day, we can always, you know, drop the video on YouTube. So do not worry. Without any further ado, I'll bring her up right now. She will come up and talk to us about this topic. And once she's done talking to us about it, we can ask questions. So please keep the comments coming. Keep it coming. Just keep typing your comments in the comment section. If you are on Instagram, type your questions, or if you're on Facebook, I don't know, we'll just try and get all the questions for her. And at the end of the day, she will try and answer them as much as possible. So let me go ahead and bring her to come up right now. Mrs. Blessing Duru, I hope you are still a panelist. I did make you a panelist. Okay, I did make a panelist. Let me correct roots. Okay. The internet is terrible. I'm trying to make love a panelist, but it's not working. I'm going to make her co-host. Yes, so that we can see her video. And I'm also going to allow her to. Okay. Blessing, if you can hear me, please speak up. And I will need you to take the spotlight. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. Perfect.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I've introduced you, I'm just going to keep quiet and let you talk, okay? So you have the floor.
Okay.
Introduce yourself again
Okay,
and tell us what you think about yourself and go ahead. You have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching us from. This is Zyna's waiting room, and I'm so excited to have been given the opportunity to come speak to us this evening from Nigeria's evening anyway, on an issue that is so dearing to us as women, and which has to do with having your own kids or having your own children, your biological children. However, the journey for us as women doesn't work the way we want it to. Even when we have prayed and believed God, God has better plans for us. And he also has different purpose why he has given us that opportunity to come as women. So for this episode on Zyna's waiting room, I'm going to speak specifically on something that's it's so fundamental, and it's actually one of the wheels that you need when you intend to proceed with the adoption process, especially in our reality, in our context, Nigeria. And I will start by talking about adoption. I know you've had your first, second, and this is the third episode on this series in increasing women understanding around adoption and what entails within it. So in my own simple definition, adoption for me simply means the act of legally, the consign there now is the word legally, taking another's child and grooming the child or bringing up the child as your own. So I want us to understand that word, underline the word legally. Then for me, I also want to talk about, take the conversation down to the mindset. Mindset is how a person thinks and your opinion on issues. And it has critical impact when it comes to the adoption process. The whole, as women, most of our conversation, our issues, our challenges are always in the mind. That's where we store them. It could be negative, it could be positive. But if you really want to go into this adoption process, it is encouraged that you start with a positive mindset. And for me, there are some factors I have listed that can guide us as potential mothers who want to adopt babies. The first thing is that you must learn to begin to shift your mindset from the negative view to a positive view to start with. Now, you begin to look at your attitude. Your attitude could be part of the issue and the struggle you will go through in terms of the adoption process you want to embark on. So it is advised that you have a positive attitude, and that will help you take away doubts. Without a lot, without the system, without the process, we ask a question: is this doable? Is it achievable? Does the system really work? But I can assure you that the system works if you take doubts away from the process. The other one is fear. You have to deal with fear. You have to take away fear from your mind and believe that I am going through a journey for a reason and for a purpose. And you, as Christians, we know what the spirit of fear does to us. So you have to conquer fear and have that right attitude, the right mindset, the positive mindset we're talking about this evening when you want to go to the adoption process. The other one for me is that you have to trust the process. Some of us will say nothing works in Nigeria, it's so difficult, the hurdles are there, the challenges are there, cannot dismantle them. But in my experience in helping women through this process, I've realized that if you don't trust the process, and commit that process in the hands of God, then you're not ready to dismantle those hurdles you will find along the way. Another one for me is that you must carry out research and findings in your environment where you reside. If, for instance, you're in Lagos State, you can begin to carry out research in terms of the orphanage homes within your environment, outside where you live. That will give you an idea of how the orphanage home runs. And sometimes you can also do face-to-face visits. You can go to the orphanage homes within your locality and begin to build relationship with them. So you will not expect them to come looking for you. You will go look for them. And for me, that will help your research and your finding and your documentation. For instance, you can just walk into an orphanage home and with your eyes wide open, you begin to look at the environment. Is it a clean place? You ask questions. What are the process? What are the procedures you have here? Who is the head of this place? And these days, it's even easier for us to do background checks. So if you get the details of the owners of this home, I don't think there's any harm in carrying out some background check and find out if really this person is actually doing the legit way of adoption or not. And that's another thing for me, is that you will also begin to connect with people who have gone through this process, because it's very challenging and sometimes it can even demoralize your spirit. So you need a network of people who you feel, or who you know, or who someone has introduced you to, and say, oh, this woman has gone through the process and she was successful. You can begin to build those networks with this kind of friends, and then ask questions, ask them how did they go about it, what are the hurdles, what were the challenges, how did you go about it, how did you dismantle these challenges. It is very critical to do that. Then above all this, for me, you must also seek the face of God and ask, is this really what is best for me? Is God speaking to me to go through this process? Is God asking me to go adopt a baby? So if you have that conviction and you have that go ahead from God, then I think you have successfully repositioned your mindset to go into the process. It's not an easy journey, I won't lie to you, but it is doable if you have the right mindset and you have the right attitude, and you come back. My internet went off.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, so that for me, it's about shifting our mindset into a positive platform. So I don't know if everybody got it, but I'll just run through what I have said before. One, you have to build a positive attitude. You have to take away doubt and fear. You have to trust the process. And then you have to also listen to the leading of God. You have to do a lot of research and findings that will help build your capacity and help you make an informed decision. Then, and that you also need to connect to people who have done this before. That will help to strengthen you and also help to motivate you and keep you in check, even when you feel the thing is taking too long. They are there to encourage you and give you words of encouragement. Then finally, you have to commit it to God. Then I also want to look at the misconception around adoption. So as women, so many people have different opinion, different mindsets, different interpretation around adoption, especially in Nigeria. So you hear a lot of misconception around adoption. And sometimes For someone who has been in this field for over 10 years, we just laugh because for me, they are not well informed and they're speaking out of ignorance. So one big misconception I hear people talk about is that when they're adopting a child can never be the same as having a biological child. So when I hear women say these things, I just smile. And it makes me feel as if we're not ready and open to choices and options. So if you have this kind of misconception around adoption, that every child you will love must be one that you have given birth to, then I think you still need to do a lot of around child upbringing. So being a biological mother or being a mother who adopted a child, the bone of contention for us is you having a child in your space, and that child complements you as a woman, and also bring the peace which you are looking for as a mom. Every woman wants a child, whether you want to be a single mom, you want to be a mom that is married, as long as you have that passion to transfer all that you have to somebody else, this misconception, please do away with it. It's totally wrong. The most important thing here is raising a child intentionally to have values and have morals that people will look at and say, yes, this child has been raised. That is the most important thing as far as we're concerned in this process. The second one is that you hear people say, oh, you're going to adopt. How are you sure it's not a criminal child? The father is not a criminal, or the mom is not a prostitute and he runs in the blood. Come on. It doesn't work that way. It's not true. Science have never proven that. These are the misconceptions we have around adoption. The third one is that people have this misconception that, oh, how are you sure it's not a mad woman that gave birth to the child that you're going to adopt, right? So eventually the child will become mad one day, or you have a mad baby in your home. So these are the conception you hear people talk about around adoption. But the truth is that they are not true, they are all false. So as women waiting to have babies, we have to be open, really open to several options. Science, knowledge, exposure has helped us.
Can you go back to the last point? Please go back to the last point. Your network was so.
Okay, so I will start again with misconception. Let me start again with misconception. I don't know if you can hear me. I said one of the misconceptions we hear on a daily basis when we interact with women that are waiting is that adopting a child will never be the same as having a biological child, as you dating that child. But that is false. That is not true. It's your mindset. The issue here is about raising a child. So whether you adopt or you give birth to the child, you're the biological mother, the bone of contention here is giving the child love, making sure that the environment is safe, and the child is treated as a child with love and affection, and provided with all the needs within your reach. And you also discipline the child to ensure that the values and the morals you want to see in the child, you're able to put that into the baby or the child. So whether you're adopting or you're giving birth, that is not the issue. The issue here is that you have a baby who looks at you and tells you, oh, mommy, you look beautiful. Mommy, I love you. Mommy, I love this dress. 2 days ago,
Yes,
I made one ugly hair. And my daughter of 5 looked at me and said, Mommy, this hair doesn't fit you. Please lose it. And that's why I'm wearing this hair like this. So we had to lose it. So this, for me, is the joy you get when you have them in your space as a woman. And regardless of where they come from, whether you get them, you adopt them, as long as you have done the legal way of adopting a child, that child automatically becomes yours. And let me also share something with us. Surprisingly, if you adopt a baby within 4 to 10 days and begin to nurse the baby, give the baby 3 months, the baby will begin to look like you. The baby will begin to take your face. And how that happens, we don't know. That is God for you. So you should rule out this misconception that we have in the society around adoption. The second one we have heard all the time is that, oh, how are you sure it's not a mad woman that gave birth to the baby and you're going to adopt a mad woman's baby? Eventually, by the time you start raising the baby will start demonstrating threats of madness in your home. So it puts people off. They say, I don't want to adopt, oh, it could be a mad woman's baby, or me, I don't want a mad person in my house. These are wrong misconceptions. The third one is you hear them say, oh, how are you sure it's not an armed robber's baby? And that thing flows inside the baby's blood. The baby will grow up and become another armed robber. So these are the 3 core misconceptions that I have heard over and over and over and over. And I think that it is time for women to begin to debunk these misconceptions because they are not real, they are not true. It has not been proven, right? So, and the last one for me is that there's a misconception around how are you sure the documents you're getting are legal? How are you sure what you're doing is legal? This is Nigeria, anything can happen. The truth remains that there are legal ways of adopting a baby in the provision of the Nigerian law and even the Child Rights Act and even the Child Protection Network framework of adoption. So there are legal ways. All the processes are not fake, unless you want to do backyard one, which we call baby buying and baby selling, which is rampant now in the society, where couples go to buy baby from behind without proper documentation. And before you know it, the case comes back to them, haunting them, and the child is taken away from them. And that is the worst that can happen to any woman. After nursing a child from birth to 2 years, and one day you just be in your house and somebody knocks on the door, and I'm here, I'm from so state security, we're carrying out an investigation on the baby, this, that, we want to do the DNA test. And once that conversation starts, you begin to panic. So there are legal ways of adopting, and that is what we encourage, and that is what we preach. So we actually want to put an end to baby buying and baby selling because it is not healthy, it is criminal, and it is an offense under the law. So these are the few points that I have come this evening to talk about addressing mindsets and misconception around adoption. So I am open for questions, comments, and any feedback. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. I have been looking through the questions, the comment section, and I've not been able to see any question. I think it's because it was very self-explanatory. I mean, the whole process, you described everything, and it's very clear. Everybody can understand what you said. I like the way you took it from point 1 to the last one. Positive mindset, taking away doubt and fear for the process, processing and committing this thing into the hands of God, researching, building relationship with the orphanage homes, connecting with people, and seeking the face of God to know if this is the way we want to go about it in the first place. If we should go about it, go into it rather in the first place. And of course, addressing those misconceptions, which is, can I love this child? What if he's a mad person's child? What if he's an armed robber's child? What if the papers are not correct and all of that? So you've really basically answered all the questions that I had in mind to ask you for today. So I don't even have any questions. And I was hoping that people would ask, but they didn't. So basically, I think it is very clear and it is very straightforward. For anyone to understand. So from my own point of view, I thought about all of this. I thought about all of this as being what people would react to. Thank God you kind of fleshed up. And in my own case, of course, I heard these things over and over, people coming to advice and saying stuff like that. But I thank God I did what I did, and I never for once flinched. It was something that I always had, even as a single person. As a young girl growing up, I always wondered why my mother had it. One day I confronted her with it. I said, why do you have 8 kids when you can actually adopt some and have some? So she was like, will you shut up? I said, yes. I was in secondary school then, and it just occurred to me, why would you have 8 children? You could have had 4 and adopted 4 that are out there. Because I have this thing about children who are out there, impoverished, not able to get the basic amenities of life because of their parents are not there, or because of who their parents are and stuff like that. So it is a good thing to do, please. And last week we heard from Mrs. Dabirichi. She broke down the processes of adoption. For those of you who were not here, just go to my YouTube channel, Zyna TV 1, just go to Zyna TV on YouTube and look at everything and listen to her. We have the audio for the day she came up, and she did give us another interview, the next time we spoke. And then she gave us, I've uploaded everything on the YouTube channel. Start from there, apart from listening to my story and how I got here, go and listen to the processes, and then understand these misconceptions that we've talked about today, and let them be eradicated from your mind, because it really does not make sense to hold yourself bound by other people's, what would they say, what would they do, and stuff like that. It doesn't help you. At the end of the day, you are the one who's going to enjoy the child. You can ask me now how I'm enjoying. I am enjoying my child. I'm enjoying her. She tells me I love you more than 20 times a day. As a woman who is waiting, there's nothing as rewarding as your child telling you, Mommy, I love you. Mommy, I love you. You look beautiful, and things like that. So please, don't let anybody hold you back. Don't let misconceptions hold you back. Don't let what people will say hold you back. Next week, we are coming back, and Blessing is still coming back with us. We have her next week. She's still talking about adoption. We are rounding off next week on the adoption topic, adoption. So next week, she's talking about the sweet and sour experiences. She did mention a little bit of it, but wait for next week. She's coming big time to talk about what people are going to, cases that they are currently talking about right now, cases that are in court, things like that. They bring tears to the eyes. This is why we advise you, if you must adopt, go about it the right way. Go about it the right way, please. Don't go through the back door. At the end of the day, you are the one who will cry. But if you go about it the right way, just like we heard last week, the child becomes your biological child when you have the adoption certificate handed over to you from the state. You can go anywhere and say, that the child is yours to anybody, and nobody's going to contest that. So that's why we're doing this, to help those who are about to make the mistakes not to do that. So from me, thank you. Blessing, do you have any final word for our viewers?
Certainly. My encouragement is that this is the time to start. Don't wait until when the knees and the bones are weak, then you want to start the process. So start now that you're very young, and you will have time to enjoy your baby. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You heard her. Don't wait until you are so old. You are in your 60s and 70s. Do it now. and let the child be part of your life as you grow, and God will bless you. Remember, I always tell you, children are a gift from God. However he gives them to you, through adoption, surrogacy, IVF, natural birth, whatever, as long as God has given you that child is yours. Do not complain, just rejoice and be grateful. After all, they are a gift from God to us. He's lending us these children for now to take care of, nurture, and grow, help them to grow into responsible adults tomorrow. That's your job. So when you sign up for that job, do it and do it well. And at the end of the day, you have your blessings for it. So do not discriminate. And for those of you who go around discriminating between those who have their children, according to you, the normal way, I don't even understand what that is. Please stop. Every child is a blessing from God. Once we receive them, let's appreciate God for them, train them, and love them, and be grateful for the gift he has given us. From me to you on this episode of The Waiting Room with Zyna, today was our episode 14. We're coming back again next week, Friday, Central African time. Do not forget, it's me, Zyna. I love you guys. Thank you very much, and have a good night. Bye.